Hi guys, this is Marvel Money, and this is my review of the LEGO Star Wars 2021 Trouble on Tatooine set from the Disney Plus show, The Mandalorian. I'm going to review the set in bag order, so the first thing I'm actually going to review is the speeder that we get with the set. I was a huge fan of the speeder, and I just like it for many reasons. One big one being that it can actually fit in the Razor Crest, which works quite well. As long as you straighten this out a bit, it does go in quite well. There are some issues with it, however, which I will talk about. But first I want to talk about what I like. And what I do like is how these kind of, I'm going to use the wrong word now and I will be corrected later, but we'll say the staff pieces here will actually go up and down depending on how far back you have Mando. The one issue I did have with this, however, is I was trying to build on carpet and I could not get this straight. But apart from that, that part works very well and it's actually quite nice because it makes it almost a bit more realistic for Star Wars. The other thing I will say with the set is it's quite nice that you've got places to actually put things. So you could put a Beskar spear there for Mandalorian, for the Mando, sorry. Or you could even have another gun or anything like that. And of course you can fit his pulse rifle on the other side. And yes, as you've already seen him, here's Grogu, little baby Yoda. But yeah, overall, very nice designed speeder bike. I guess they tried to make it resemble the one in the show as much as possible, but then again, that is supposed to be just a generic speeder bike, so I don't think it's the most important thing. We've got these translucent pieces here to obviously just represent that there shouldn't really be anything there and it should hover. I don't really have an issue with that. I understand that that's what they've got to do, and at the end of the day, it still looks quite nice. I like the addition of the holders, like I said, because you can put anything you want there. I like the kind of outer works of it. Almost looks like it has been built by junkers or even it's been repaired by junkers. But no, overall I was very happy with the actual design of the speeder. I like that it's not the same on both sides, because it just makes it seem a bit, again, more realistic as to what the conditions would actually be post-Empire in Star Wars. I do like that we get a little kind of, I always thought these were parachute pieces, but I think they're just being used now as like regular backpacks and storage systems, which I do quite like that we've got something to hold that in place. And of course we've got the new to 2021, I think, Lego piece, which is the baby carrier, and of course our little Grogu fits in there. I think I've seen it used in the camp van set as well, which is used to hold just a regular baby minifigure, but that's a very nice addition. And I have actually seen that you can take this off, put it on IG-11, so you can have IG-11 carry baby Yoda, and of course you can put it on Mando to hold baby Yoda. Now, the bad things about this. So it is quite hard to get Mando in. I will admit I struggled a bit, and it looks like eventually his cape will give in to that. It's hard to see, but just there is where he sits on, and it is kind of dependent on getting his hand on the controls. So I've had to have a few attempts at getting that right. It is difficult to get both arms on, because when you get both arms on, you can sometimes end up with that askew like that. But a few attempts and you will get it right. I do prefer to have him just holding the blaster instead. I think that's a bit of a better detail to have, especially you can see it on the box art. But yeah, that is probably my biggest issue with the speeder. Apart from that, I am a big fan of it. I do like it. I like that there's room for improvement, and there's, you know, things you can add to it and even things you can take away from it if you didn't want them on. Like you could take those off and put something else. You could, if you've got a jetpack piece, which is probably what I'm going to do, you could just put a jetpack piece on there instead, as opposed to the backpack, because you don't think you'll really be able to get them to sit with the jetpack on whilst leaning back and whilst making sure this doesn't stay entirely upright like that. But yeah, overall, very good work on the speeder. Some hiccups with things like getting the character to sit in. I will say that if you do want both of his arms on the actual speeder bike controls, which makes perfect sense because I've never actually seen someone efficiently drive a speeder with one hand, you can of course put this in here. Oop, I'm missing out because I'm looking at my screen and not the actual set. But yeah, and have it as a auto-mounted cannon or automatic gun that Mando can just take off afterwards or when he's parked. But that's obviously entirely up to you. You could even put a pulse rifle there. I think the only issue you would have though is because of the way it is shaped, it may go up a bit as opposed to straight. But no, that's it for the speeder bike. I'm now going to move on to the hut. Now the Tuscan Raiders hut is filled with quite a nice few details. We've got a pan and a bone to suggest he was cooking something. No idea. Maybe a piece of crate dragon. I do quite like this centerpiece of the hut. I haven't seen many pieces like this, so it's quite nice to get one. And I think it just works quite nice to draw attention to almost make it seem like an actual hut. It came in as like two separate parts. You build this and you attach it on for this piece here, and then you have the other part of the hut here, which is the roofing and the walls. But no, I did quite like that. I like the detailed little campfire. There is a little space here where you can obviously put his staff. There is a name for the exact weapon, but I'm unsure of it at this moment. If you do know though, please put it in the comment section below, because I am curious. But if you don't want his staff to be there and you instead want his staff to be in his arm, you can put the spare ammo for the cannon and just have it there so he can reload it when he needs to. I do quite like the addition of the pan, because this is the first Lego pan I've ever got. The bone is also quite a funny detail, I guess, as to what he was cooking and why it's just a bone now. Like, has he already eaten it, or is he just making a broth or a stew or something? I guess we'll never find out. You could always @Lego on Twitter if you really wanted to find out, or even Jon Favreau, Dave Filoni, one of the upper creatives at Disney. Well, Disney for Mandalorian, I should say. Now, one detail I really do like about this set is how it folds out, because you can have it like that to either be able to play with it better, to display it better, to put things in it, to make it more hut-like for a Tuscan Raider, make the hut a home. There's this plate here, I think, which I presume is a plate. If it is something else from canon or lore from Tuscan Raiders, please do let me know. I thought it was just a plate for his finished meal. But no, like I was saying, I do quite like that you can obviously close and open these parts of the hut. I think it's quite a nice detail. It works well for display, it works well just to show like the actual hut shape it takes. I guess they have obviously done this on purpose, and you can see on the back of the box art they've done this on purpose, I believe. Yeah, there you go. So they have done that by design, and that may be for various reasons. One such just to get more use out of it, to be able to play with it. Same way you can obviously bend these roofs up. But however you use it is entirely up to you. I no doubt a lot of people will just keep it like that, and there's nothing wrong with that. I open it out when I've had scenes where I've had Mando sit with the Tuscan, because it's easier to get them in and have them sat around. If you have other Tuscan Raiders, it probably works well to just put them on each one of these and then fold it in, and it seems like they're all sitting around as well. The only thing I'd be careful of is making sure their arms don't stick into each other, because then you might just have to change how they're sitting. But no, all in all, the Tuscan Raider Hut was a very nice addition to this set, and it kind of, I guess, adds more to the Trouble on Tatooine aspect, because it does kind of make it very easily identifiable as Tatooine by having a Tuscan Raider Hut. So I am quite happy with getting that, and I think it'll work well with any other Star Wars sets you have that include houses or buildings, especially the Mos Eisley Cantina set. That'll work very well with this, as you could have this on the outskirts. Now I'm going to talk about the turret cannon. Not entirely sure what the correct term would be for this weapon. I know they use it for hunting and the crate dragon and bringing it down, so it actually shot harpoons as opposed to cannons. But I do like it a lot. I think it's a very nice addition. It's nice to have if you do have some of those bigger creatures in Star Wars, or even bigger creatures in other Lego themes like Ninjago, or potentially even Marvel in the future. If you've got the Fenris Wolf set, it just works for different things depending on whatever you want to use it on. It's got a lot of details, and it does look quite similar to the one we get in the series, with a few differences, of course, because it's Lego and not actual string. I will try to show a comparison somewhere around here. If I don't, I apologise, and I may or may not cut this out of the review. But to continue with the actual review then, so we get another translucent piece here, which I didn't think was entirely necessary, because if you take it off, all it really is doing is holding those in place, and it will stand without it. So I think that's just to either make it more solid on the bottom or to make it stand easier. You've also got this wheel at the front, which of course would be used to move it. And it's not a working wheel, it's two of these pieces put together, followed by two of these rounder pieces put together, held on by two droid arms. So it's not a working wheel, but it's a nice detail. My favourite part of this, to be honest, is this kind of X-shape, strings, but sorry, the things that hold the strings in a bow. If someone knows the name of those, please let me know as well. But we'll just call them the bowstrings for the time being. The bowstring holders even. You can adjust them, you can move them down. Do be careful though, because as I've just done, if you move it too far down, you will hit that off. But no, I thought that was a very nice addition. It makes it look a lot more, I guess not Star Warsy, but a lot more realistic to Star Wars and the version we see. Of course, the main attraction to this is the actual cannon. You build up all of it and then you literally just slap that on top. Apart from the handles which you build at the end, I think. I cannot recall correctly. And of course I will show it being shot at the box, as I did with the AT-ST Raider set. So there you go. Yep, that was quite loud because I'm in a smaller room this time. And of course we get the second bullet because we only get one of these cannon pieces, so we only get 2 actual projectiles. They work very well. It works very well because you can actually adjust the height and angle of it by lowering the feet, and of course you may have to move this block as well, but you can have it aim up and aim down. You don't necessarily have to, I guess, adjust that block at the bottom, because if you move it all higher, except one piece, sorry, you will have it looking up like that. And of course you can change it depending on what you may be facing. Of course it does get a bit more unstable the higher you have it pointing if you don't adjust each leg accordingly. The other nice detail of this harpoon gun, or cannon, whatever we're calling it, is there is a little pistol at the back, or it's not always a pistol like we've seen on the speeder as a handle, but Mando has a black one for a pistol. You can put a Tuscan Raider on the back of it, hold it, aim it. If you're changing the height of it, you can of course change this to some extent. You can put it down to face up, but not obviously the other way around. That is one of the issues I was going to bring up about this. He does fall off quite easily, and because it's not too deep, the pistol will come off with him as opposed to the cannon a few times. I've had that a few times. It's a bit annoying, but it's not the end of the world. There are quite obvious fixes. You could just put a stud with the hole in, have that on at the end there, and then put the gun in, and of course that'll help it remain more stable. There's probably a few fixes. If you know some, post them in the comments, so it's helpful for other people to see them. But yeah, that is a nice detail. Of course we see it on the box art as well, but I just like the idea that he is somehow controlling this gun from here, and the rest of it works like machinery. It is a nice detail, and I guess it's just supposed to show that the Tuscans are in control of these, as they are in the first episode of Season 2 of Mandalorian, or Chapter 9, where they do use these to take out the crate dragon. Well, not necessarily take it out, Mando takes it out. They use these to pin down the crate dragon and keep him in one place. Or, don't even know if they specify what sex it was. I presume female because it had an egg, to be honest, but again, we don't know how species work in Star Wars. But yeah, nice detail. I guess the only thing that would have been a bit better would be like, say, if it had a chain on or a harpoon as opposed to a cannon, to make it a bit more realistic to what the show actually entailed and showed. But then again, we don't know all the details that LEGO had, and we don't know everything they had to work off. And at the end of the day, we could always make that ourselves. We don't have to be reliant on LEGO to give us everything, just because we don't like it. And at the end of the day, again, it's their idea, and it's still quite a good idea. I'm happy with it. I'm not really going to complain too much that it's not a chain as opposed to a cannon, because I still really like it. Now, the next thing I want to talk about regarding this set are the minifigures that come with it, and especially this minifigure we get with him, because he is probably going to be the centerpiece for a lot of collectors, and he might be a reason why a lot of collectors end up just buying this set as opposed to the Razor Crest. Of course, Beskar Armor Mando is a big attraction for buyers of this set, because it's the only set so far where we do get him in his Beskar armor. But first of all, I'm going to talk about the Tuscan Raider. Now, I haven't had a Tuscan Raider before, prior to getting this set, so I did actually quite like him. I don't know why, but his head reminds me of the Homer Simpson head that came in the Simpson sets and the Simpson minifigure packs. I honestly don't know why, it just does. If anyone else can see that, please say it in the comment section so I know I'm not losing my mind. But yeah, I quite like the robes he has. I quite like the utility belts and the belts going around his chest and torso, around to his back. I think it's a nice detail. I think it obviously makes sense considering that they are scavengers and they are raiders. The head is a very nice detail. It's just, it's just a Tuscan Raider head, but it's nice that they've done it like that as opposed to just try doing face printing, because I think that wouldn't have been the way to go. We also get his staff in this. Or her staff. I'm pretty sure it's a guy, this one. But yeah, we get the staff in this set, and it is one that Boba Fett does don later on in the show, and it's one that most Tuscan Raiders have. It does have a name. Again, I'm unsure of the name, but I know that it's supposed to be used like quite almost like a bat, I should say, to hit people. If you want, I guess you could actually switch the places of this and have it as a gun. The other thing I will say is if you have any of the old Lego shotgun pieces, which have come in, I think, the Skull Sorcerer's Castle, the Skull Dungeon, even from Ninjago, and the old Ultra Raider from Ninjago. I'm talking about this brown shotgun kind of thing here. It might be a rifle. I think that works quite well as a gun for the Tuscans. The other thing I will say regarding Tuscan Raiders is it would have been nice to maybe get another one in the set, just to show that obviously they do kind of stay as groups and to make his hut a little less lonely. But I guess you can always get them from future sets if they do any with them in, or you could probably buy them cheap from eBay or even a pack of them for quite a lot. But no, it would just be nice to get one or two more Tuscans. I guess that would obviously increase the price of the set, but I'd happily spend £30 to get one more Tuscan Raider, or even, you know, a smaller Tuscan Raider, a child Tuscan Raider, something like that. It would have been a nice detail, but it's not the end of the world. The next minifigure I'm going to talk about is the Grogu minifigure. Now, I'm pretty sure this isn't considered a microfigure because the microfigure is obviously like has the minifigure kind of design, but a lot smaller. I think these are literally just supposed to be baby minifigures. The only kind of building it requires is the head to the torso, which is quite nice. His ears are quite flexible. They're made of that new plastic they started using for hair, which is quite nice. It allows you to get a bit more bending on certain locations. I haven't talked about this minifigure yet because I haven't managed to get my reviews out for the Razor Crest and for the child set, but I do quite like this. I like the detail on the clothes of his actual, like, they never actually specify what it is, but let's just call it his baby robes, his baby Jedi robes. That's what I'm now calling them. I do quite like them. I like that there's obviously one place at the bottom where you can sit, or you can even put them in Mando's hand, which is quite a nice detail to do. And of course you can put them in his little baby carrier, which I really like. I really like it as an addition to the Mandalorian sets. The only kind of like grievance I have with these is, of course, we do see Grogu hold and carry things in the show, you know, his little silver orb, things like that. So he can hold things, but the minifigure won't allow that because obviously they're filled in here. I guess it would have just been nice if they could make him not Yoda sized, but almost as a new sub-type of minifigure that's smaller than a Yoda minifigure but bigger than a baby minifigure. One that could give him 2 legs and actual hands. Wouldn't necessarily have to be posable, but more just would be able to actually hold things like the Tusken and Mando. But then again, I understand that he is supposed to still be a baby, and it does make sense for him not to be able to do that. And we do get obviously the detail that's supposed to show he does have 2 legs with a line at the back there and the line at the front there that actually cuts into it and shows that he's got 2 feet. But apart from that, love this minifigure. My mum is obsessed with this minifigure. She thinks he's just as cute as the actual show. But yeah, nice minifigure to get. I now have 3. I do recommend getting the set if you do want Baby Yoda because it's the cheapest set he comes in. I probably should call him Grogu now because that is his actual name and I do actually quite like it. But yeah, this is the 3rd set for Grogu to appear in, and it is the cheapest set for Grogu to appear in. So if you haven't got yourself a Grogu minifigure because of prices, I recommend you get this set for the Grogu minifigure. If not for the Grogu minifigure, then definitely for the Mandalorian Beskar armor minifigure, which is the reason I got this, to be honest, because I just loved the idea of him getting a Beskar minifigure. I was really, I guess not annoyed, but kind of a bit saddened at the fact that we didn't get one from Season 1, even though he does have his Beskar armor for the majority of Season 1. This Mandalorian comes with his classic pulse rifle, you know, RIP to it now, but it is nice to get that again because they're just nice to have. So I'll have 3 now. Got the same number of pulse rifles as I do Baby Yodas. But yeah, nice, same design. There is actually a misprint on the box, I think, or the website, where for some reason I have the pulse rifle built like this. No idea why, but we're making fun of Lego for it. I don't really mind. At the end of the day, it's still the same pulse rifle. But yeah, nice addition to the set. And of course the other thing we get is just a little pistol. People have been wanting more detailed Star Wars guns and more detailed like blaster rifles, all that kind of thing, which I do kind of get, but at the same time it's a lot of effort then trying to make individual weapons for each people, and it's the same reason they probably don't do that with lightsaber hilts. You can get them from eBay. It's entirely up to you. I'm perfectly fine using that as a pistol because I can give them another one and have them go dual wield. So to me that's not an issue. The next thing I want to talk about is the actual Beskar we get. They've given him a different helmet, although his helmet never changes in the series. I don't mind that. I think it does kind of match it a bit better. It almost looks a bit more realistic as well with the dents going in, or the curvature I should say, not the dents, because it's not dents. We do get this line down the middle, which is, I think there's nothing you can really do about that. That's just the way it's made, and of course we get the detail on the back. He does have the same cape. I'm just looking at the older one I have here for a comparison. The cape does look pretty much the same. The helmet is of course lighter, and I'll just show the differences now. Where there wasn't Beskar, there is Beskar. That's pretty much the major difference. His belt is a bit more detailed and has a few more bullets. The overlap is a bit different. He's still got his thermal detonators there, I believe, and the belt is pretty much the same after that. We've got his Beskar chest plate. He's got a different coloured robe underneath, I guess, or different coloured clothing underneath. But of course we've got Beskar running through down to his knees. We've got Beskar on his arms, which I really love the addition of. I like that his whistling birds would be there, and now he's got a shoulder plate, because I feel like this is what the old minifigure lacked. And of course on the other side we've got his sigil here, the sigil of the Mudhorn, which is a detail I really loved, and his flamethrower arm there, which again is just amazing detail. Back printing, again, we've just got the same similar thing where it's just replaced with Beskar, and then the belt is slightly improved to look a bit better. I prefer the new look. Some will prefer the old look. It's entirely up to you. I mean, you don't necessarily have to use one over the other. I use this one over because it's my preferred one. I will say though, they do give him a black head again. Just a blacked out head. Again, no real idea why they do that now that season 1 finished, unless, because I can't imagine they would have started season 1 without knowing the end. They started season 2 sets without knowing the end of season 1. But then again, like I said, I just used Poe Dameron face and the Anakin hair to make my own little Pedro Pascal. Entirely up to you what you do with it. If you want him to just keep his helmet on, and obviously the face wouldn't really matter, but for me I like him to have his helmet off at times, in which case I will use the head that I put on this Mandalorian minifigure, who is from my Razor Crest. But no, I will be using him from now on. I will be using I will be using the Poe Dameron face more. The other differences, besides the Beskar, are the legs and the colour of the actual torso underneath the Beskar. So we've gone from yellow here to brown, and we've gone from brown on the legs to grey on the old legs to brown on the new legs, and grey on the old hands to black on the new hands, which again, don't mind. Nice detail. It's honestly not I guess it's a bit weird that they weren't that colour to begin with, because I'm pretty sure he did have brown legs to begin with. I may be wrong, but I'm now a massive fan of this minifigure, and I do recommend getting the set, if not anything else, for this minifigure. Apart from that, the only other slight differences are what I mentioned with the belt, where we've got a few different things on the belt, or the colour's different on the belt, so like they're exactly the same, there's little packs there, but this one's a darker brown, this one's a lighter brown. So no major differences in terms of them. The biggest differences are of course the Beskar armour, but I can't deny I absolutely love the detail on this printing, and I want more sets with sidearm printing, and even I think some sets in the future could start using more foot printing. And even, like, I haven't seen this done on any, but if you have, please let me know. Side leg printing. I don't think he has any on, like, where he'd actually be worthy of, or sorry, worthwhile even of putting onto his legs. But again, we can always see what they do in the future. He seems to get constant upgrades, so we can see about that. The one thing lacking from this minifigure, however, apart from the face and hair, is his jetpack. I really would have liked a jetpack that matches his Beskar armour a bit more. Currently I use a jetpack that matches the old Mando's helmet a bit more in colour. I still continue to use that because it's the best jetpack I've got, but it would have just been a bit of a nicer detail. I will eventually do a video just showing all my differences between the minifigure we get in the sets and the minifigure I've made with my own, well not made, but kind of use other bits and pieces to make into my own Mando that I prefer, including things like different weapons, including a flamethrower and things like that. They are quite easy builds to do, so I will share that, and then obviously you at home can make them yourself for a more accurate Mandalorian. The other thing I recommend doing with the Mandalorian is if you've got a silver spear like this. I've taken this from an old Ninjago temple that must be like 5 years old now. Give it to him, have it as his Beskar spear. There's a free slot on the speeder bike, put it on the speeder bike, and you've got storage for it. I think it's just a really nice detail to add, because of course he does get one in the future. You can kind of do with the old jetpacks, I probably should have brought one in with me to show it, but where they flick off here at the edges to show the actual boosters, you can kind of slide it on underneath there if you want to just keep it there, but it works great on the actual speeder bike, and I think it does kind of a good job of matching the colour of his helmet and his armour. But no, nice detail to add, that I think. So I do recommend doing that, because it's always nice to make them more realistic to what we see in the shows and movies. But yeah, if you've got a silver spear, why not? There's a space for it on the speeder, and if you ask me, that is why. The next thing I want to talk about regarding this set are the spare pieces that come with it, because like I said in my ATST Raiders set review, spare pieces are often overlooked and either just put to the side or not used. Obviously the main priority is to be used as a spare piece if you are missing a piece. Personally, I've never actually been missing a piece in LEGO ever. I've never actually missed a piece. Some people do. It's entirely due to chance, to be honest. But we get a nice range of mixed pieces, a mix of spare pieces. You can make staffs and weapons using this as a centre. You almost have enough pieces to make another pulse rifle. You could always use a different substitute for the actual handle of the gun. We get obviously pieces like that are used in detail for other sets. Bones that you can use, you know, to represent bones, or even you can put them into some weapons. A little flame. I wouldn't recommend using this for the flamethrower, just because the flames that actually span out a bit more are better. A few of the studs that have a hole in, so you can use them as placements for the gun, like I was talking about with the Tuscan Raiders the blaster handle for the cannon. We get two of those, so if you wanted to, you could actually put two of those together, put one of those on the end and have it as a staff, like so. I've just taken it off camera to show a bit clearer. Something like that, almost like not a baton but a bat. And if you really wanted to, you could put a flame on the top stud and have it as a torch. Again, entirely up to you what you do with your spare pieces. That's why they're your spare pieces. The first thing that came to mind for me was to make a little gun, which I ended up having as a bazooka more. It's more of a bazooka. You can switch it between whatever you want it to be, but I made this as using the spare pieces, and you can have it either way, just as a handle. If you take obviously that off and that off, you can have it as just a weapon, or one of the flash things he uses in the first season of Mandalorian. But yeah, entirely up to you what you do with spare pieces. If you have any good spare piece ideas for this set, drop them in the comment below. Make a little video, make your own YouTube account. Share it with me, and I'll be happy to share it on Twitter and and YouTube. But yeah, spare pieces are always a good way of just almost showing your skill and showing what you can always do. And of course, you can always merge spare pieces of one set with another. But to be honest, this was my personal favourite, just because in my head I saw it straight away and I was like, oh yeah, I'm building that. That's going to be what I use my spare pieces for. The other thought I had was if you switch it the other way, I made that as its iron cannon form. And of course, if you wanted to, you could put the other studs on the end. You can even put that there for any given effect you want. Again, your spare pieces, do what you want with them. Now that I've changed it to that, I'd probably have it as a minigun instead. Before I finish my review, I've just noticed something quite embarrassing, where this black stud with the hole in the middle is actually supposed to go there. I think I have done that at first, and for some reason taken it off to use it as a spare piece, not thinking it was entirely necessary. But now that that's in there, it should hold better. Obviously, excuse me just breaking it there by applying way too much pressure. But yeah, that should work a lot better as a cannon that will actually stay equipped onto my Tuscan Raider when he is holding the gun. I'm just going to try that now. Hopefully that does work a lot better, and if so, then all the issues I was thinking. No, yeah, it still slides out. But it worked. It did hold a lot stronger than it did the first time. So yeah, that is how it's supposed to be. That is my mistake. Sorry. But yeah, thank you for bearing through my incompetence there. So in terms of what I was just saying with the back of the cannon, that one black stud did help a little bit. I would recommend putting on another just to make it that bit more secure, and if it works out and you try it, do let me know. But as for the final summary of the set, I'd say this is a great set. £28, 3 minifigures, including a very highly detailed Beskar armor Mandalorian and another Grogu. I would definitely recommend getting this set. Again, like I said, one of my favourite details is that this speeder will actually fit in the back of the Razor Crest. Also, RIP to the Razor Crest. But that's got a great detail. The fact that it will actually fit and you can have it in the back of the Razor Crest with your other characters or even Mandalorian's bed just works out really well for me, and it's a feature I really like. The other thing I will say that I didn't say about the speeder earlier on is these two little studs, I'm not really sure what they're called, pieces at the front can work as cannons, so you can have him firing back at the Tuscans. But overall, great set. Absolutely love building it. Absolutely love having it. The issues with the speeder I can overlook just because I'm a huge fan of the show and because it still works very well as a speeder. I haven't seen a lot of the other speeder bikes. Obviously, we used to get just the generic ones that Scout Troopers would use, like the Endor ones, and a few of the snow speeders on Hoth. But I think this beats them all and tops them all. It is actually made so these three pieces will just sit when you have it lined up perfectly, which again is a great detail. And I think a lot of thought went into it. There's even some pieces that aren't actually attached on by a stud, they're hanging on by a pole, which I think is very smart, very well done. And got to love this baby holder piece, got to love the little backpack, makes it seem more true to the Mandalorian show. And like I said, I was a huge fan of the Tuscan cannon, the little Tuscan hut, and the capabilities we have with that. So thank you guys for watching. If you liked this video, hit the thumbs up. If you didn't, that's perfectly fine. If you've got any questions, put them in the comment section below and I'll try my best to answer them. And if you want to see more videos like this, you can check out my channel, and so you can subscribe and hit the bell to be alerted when I make new videos. You can also follow me on Twitter at MarvelManny01 to see more of my content, see my progress as I build sets, and get a better idea of what I'm doing and when I'm trying to get it all out. So yeah, thank you guys for watching. Have a great day.